I don't want to do you dirty, so I think it's best I did. I hate it had to come to this, it is what it is. I gotta leave this bitch where I found her. Bitch out of water, she a flounder. I gotta put an end to the hours. I gotta put an end to the. When you love someone, you ain't supposed to treat them bad. Know it feels sad, but these feelings gotta pass. I just gotta see what is best for me. Need some time to see where I wanna be. Where I wanna be. Need some time to see where I wanna be. Where I wanna be. Need some time to see where I wanna be. Where I wanna be. Need some time to see where I wanna be. Where I wanna be. Need some time to see where I wanna be. I forgave myself, now I'm back. Try to turn my name around me, that's a Mac. Money always coming in, that's the acronym for that. And mistakes add character, and yeah, I carry that. I'm on track, if I can't have you, then at least I have me. I've never been the type to doubt the things that I could be. I'm never in a drought, I love myself so thoroughly. I'd rather be alone than lead you on to keep it G. I gotta leave this bitch where I found her. Fish out of water, she a flounder. I gotta put an end to the hours. I gotta put an end to the. When you love someone, you ain't supposed to treat them bad. Know it feels sad, but these feelings gotta pass. I just gotta see what is best for me. Need some time to see where I wanna be. Where I wanna be. Need some time to see where I wanna be. Where I wanna be. Need some time to see where I wanna be. Where I wanna be. Where I wanna be. Where I wanna be. Need some time to see where I wanna be. Now I'm back. To the mat. I carry.
Right here. And I'm gonna go into some things tonight now, some things for you to also watch out for. Because at this particular time, you can front to everybody around you, but your heart has to be right, because there's something called the apocalypse of the heart. You being
it's in the air, I'm finna mask up. Lot of stuff I gotta pass up. Just told my old thing we can never patch up. How I'ma make a meal focusing on the bad stuff. Only thing bad is my bitch, not keen on bad luck. Cam just told me I gotta go get my plants up. Put more oxygen there, don't fuck with asthma. Got my spirit aligned with those who matter. Never been gassed up, just roll gas up. I don't believe they sentence, cause they the type to take credit for somebody else working and delete the reference. Y'all really need my presence, y'all obsolete pedestrians. I'm gonna complete the mission, y'all gonna deplete the essence. If you don't pay attention, then you won't retrieve the message. You gotta stay prepared so you can receive your blessings. When it comes to the work, my wrist ambidextrous, and I'ma whip that hoe until I cross the checklist.
And just deal with it. Say, this is it, you know. I'm not gonna get another self. Who I am is who I am. You know, quit comparing yourself to whether you look like other people or what other people have, and fall in love with yourself. There's something about you that you like about yourself. Take that
from the dirt, but I feel freed from it. I know my worth, I ain't never had to flee from it. I losing focus on broken days, I heal from it. If I hit blocks, I ain't stopped, I'm still running. Not in a rush, I trust my day still coming. And you can't tell me nothing, I love who I'm becoming. I ran it up and read up, and Nick D's coming. We shining brightly, we blinded, we tryna see something. We tryna see something. Vision hitting different, yeah, change is underway. Embracing all my demons, keep the devils at bay. Ay, lost in the moment, no comment, no words. Sourcing information, but who really being heard? Had a realization led to my rebirth. Broke another curse and the vibes got reversed. Yeah, hey. Broke another curse and the vibes got reversed. Had to comprehend. Had a dollar in a dream. Till he start making sense. Till he start making change. I'm doing well, might as well go cop a chain. Reminder around my neck, I deserve these nice things. And it seems they doubt it. I bless a nigga who knows how to stay grounded. Yeah. Hey. And it seems they doubt it. God bless a nigga who know how to stay grounded. Yeah.
This pocket's representing gas for sale, and you getting it from Straight Out the Trunk Radio. Let's go.
Straight Out the Trunk Radio, we live every Monday night, 10 p.m. to midnight on acceleratedradio.net. You dig? Hey, follow us, Straight Out the Trunk Radio, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat. Subscribe, Straight Out the Trunk TV on YouTube, StraightoutTheTrunkRadio.com. Visit that page. You dig? Hey, special guest in the house, straight from the IE. Yes, Cam Gnarly in the motherfucking house.
Yes,
hey,
IE very own. Shout out Sam Medino in here.
Yes, sir.
Right. North End Gnarly in here. What's cracking?
What it do? What it do? Cam Gnarly, how was your weekend, sir?
My weekend was great. It was my pop's birthday. He turned 58.
Hey, that's some big blessings right there.
You know, I got to see my niece. I didn't see my niece because of COVID and everything, so I got to be around family. It was beautiful. One thing that came to mind, my pops always be saying, just keep living, you know. Every time we have a disagreement or something, he'd be like, all right, just keep living. Watch, just keep living. So that was really the theme of the whole weekend, like just seeing the shift and shit, like going from being the son to the uncle to the godfather to the head of a family type shit. Like, so it was a good weekend. I saw y'all out there though. I saw y'all outside though.
I was outside this weekend.
It was just him. Yeah, he went to that Rose Fest.
I went to a Rose Fest. Yeah, it was pretty lit.
That looked cracking.
It was dope just to be outside again, seeing people perform on the stage.
Yeah.
It was they actually had sections. The sections they like previewed on like social media about like the concerts and like everybody in like own little personal sections. It was set up like that. You feel me?
So it's like how what do you mean sections? Like personal sections?
Like everybody had like an own VIP section. You know, like
so it was like no standing room.
No, it was hella standing room. It was a little big ass park, but it was just to the point of like. They had like
you can only go in
like socially
distanced, socially distanced, sitting down area, but you could stand up and it was social distance, but it wasn't social distance.
I just did a show this past week on the weekend before that.
Canafest.
Yeah, that was cracking. The IE really came outside, and we was out in Paris. I don't even think I'd done a show in Paris before, but shout out to my boy Chubbs and the Green American, and it was tight.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. Like, how was that? Because it's the first time coming back outside.
It was different. It was different. It's been so long. Like my approach to doing shows is different now because I've been cozy. You know, it's gonna take the number got to be right for me to want to go do a show, but I also am eager to get back out there, but you know I want to take it slow because I'm like a real performer. Like I don't be rapping over my vocals and none of that shit, so I expect a lot from myself when I'm performing. So that was really all I was thinking about, like am I going to be able to make sure I can give the best show, because it's been a year and some change since we did that. And before I was doing shows pretty often, like almost every other weekend, either throwing my own shows or performing where we're called. So it was dope. It was cool to get back out there, do shows. I was able to do songs that was like crowd favorites and to see people excited. I saw my niggas out there hugging and shit. Like it was tight. Aww. Because like it was a homie collective. All the IE homies came together, but once my set was started, I saw the homies get up and stand up and come to the crowd, and niggas was taking group pictures and shit. So from my perspective, it was really dope to see, like, look at the music, look at the vibes, bringing the homies together, because that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Like, just trying to get people to connect. So I
recently interviewed Maya Juana, right? And she just told me about how IE takes it personal. They do not rap over their lyrics. Yeah. Like it's like forbidden in the IE.
Yeah.
And like when I went to the fucking festival this weekend, there was some opening acts. Karaokeing and shit, you feel me? And I was just like,
and much love to them. They younger artists who take time to learn that.
I ain't gonna say they're younger. You don't give them that fucking credit. You feel me?
I'm talking about the ones that I know.
I was like, hold on now, like, nah, these niggas look like they've been performing for a while type shit. So when I seen that, I was just like, man, do they take this shit serious, or is they doing it just because it's a big ass stage and they just want to like put on a good show, not a performance, but just a show, Maybe it's vice versa, performance versus the show, because I feel like somebody who's putting on a show is the one who's actually doing like no vocals behind it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's just my thought, But when I seen that shit, I was like, yo. They motherfucking doing this shit. They ain't taking this serious. You feel me? I was like, this is the IE.
Yeah.
That shit stuck in my head. I was like, it's fucking true. I was like, Pretty Papes, fucking Noah James. You feel me? When I seen the fucking Price, he did his shit over just instrumental.
Yeah.
You feel me? From Audio Push.
Yeah,
so
we come from that.
I was like, all right, so I respect that way more, because you if you fuck up, nobody's gonna know you fuck up.
Exactly.
Because we don't know your lyrics like that unless we really fuck with the artist,
Yeah, it's hard for me to connect with the artist. I imagine it'll be hard for somebody to connect with my music if they don't hear me saying it to them. And it's also like when you're performing over, or rather, if you're not performing over your lyrics, like you're in a unique position to really get people. Like you can say shit differently or put emphasis on certain parts that is different from the song. I want to like make the person who's watching me perform feel like they're hearing it for the first time. Like it's a brand new, like if they were to record my performance, that's gonna be a valuable record. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I want to be.
Man.
Absolutely. I'm glad you could bring that up because just inspiration alone, like I think that's a mark that most artists miss.
Yeah.
It's more so about who inspired them, but you as an artist, I'm actually kind of curious to find out when you're creating and when you're throwing these shows, who are you specifically, like what crowd are you looking to draw in on your specific artistry?
On my specific artistry, I feel like my inspirations vary. I have homies that are in like, deep like punk crowds and stuff like that. I have homies that are into a more like acoustic sound, more like Afrocentric type vibes. The incense and the like. So I feel like because I have walked through a lot of different types of scenes, and I feel like I'm accepting a lot of different spaces. I find myself making a lot of songs for different spaces. And it changes throughout my musical career. Like, when I was younger, I had more music that was more like mosh pity and like not giving a fuck type energy. And now my music tends to be a little bit more like soulful, or it tends to be like a little more like intentional or intimate. But I try to make a little something for all the different things that I'm into. Not to say that I'm making something for everybody, because that's like kind of like a too wide of a target to hit. But I just try to be intentional with the shit that I like and make sure that I'm being true to that. So I'll make something that's more like poppy or like more of like a bop, like Sweet with me and Pretty Papes. Like that's a really fun little sweet song. Like that shit could get played, in any kind of like pop space. Yeah. But I also have songs that are a little more like sultry and a little more like explicit, like that joint with me and Zybel, that song Exchange.
I love it. Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, she snapped on that.
Even the end.
Yeah, she snapped. She snapped. Like I knew what I did when I sent it to her, but I saw her like working on it, and I'm just like, when you say like what inspires me, like I'm inspired by other artists. Like I love seeing other artists in their element, and it reminds me of like, man, like we're capable of so much. All you got to do is just really trust yourself to do so. So when I watch other people really, really know themselves as an artist, or just fearlessly exploring and creating stuff. Like when I sent the joint to Zaya, because she wasn't living in Cali at the time. When we first started talking about working together, she was out here, but she wasn't after the fact. So when I sent it to her, I saw her like work on it live. She was working on it live on Instagram Live, and I'm such a like stickler because I want the song to sound like great. I couldn't bring myself to watch her work on it, so I was just like, I sent it to the homie. I was like, bro, watch this, but don't tell me what she's doing. Just let me know if she's still working on it. So it was dope just to see people be in her element. So it's artists like that who, like Zaya, like Papes, or like, Maya as well, like people that I know are really about their craft, and we all wear different hats. Like everybody I name, we do more than just, we're more than just writers or producers or songwriters or performers. We're event curators, we're fucking advisors to a lot of shit, like, and it all comes out in the music, like in different ways. Like I feel like that's why I'm able to make such, like, my catalog of music is so vast and it all sounds different, but I got joints that can exist in all kinds of spaces because I exist in more than one space. I'm more complicated than just like one way.
What was your parents listening to while you was growing up? Then what was you listening to when you actually had the accessibility to go listen to music yourself?
Okay. My mother's from Chicago, so she was listening to a lot of like, my family's actually close to Earth, Wind and Fire. Like Maurice White used to know my grandmother. That's lit. They used to be fucking doing drugs and playing drums together back in the day.
That's social right there. You feel?
Yeah. So Earth, Wind and Fire, a lot of like from being from Chicago, a lot of Midwest. Sorry to say, we used to listen to like R. Kelly and shit like that back in the day. Like a lot of R&B. That's my mother's side.
Hey, I love R. Kelly still to this day.
I mean, as a black man, I inherently love all black people. I hope he gets the help he needs, and
I separate the artist and the person.
Right.
Yeah, I separate the artist and the person.
Yeah. But nonetheless, I don't want to get too off track, but when the art represents your life too much, like I can't know you doing gross shit and then hear your songs being sexual, and I'm like, bro, I don't know where the line is. But
I hear you.
But nonetheless,
I hear you. I just tune that out because when I first hear it, I'm thinking of what I first hear. I ain't thinking about the accusations no more.
No. I mean, it's too late. But I can't unhear the facts.
I hear.
But but we used to listen to a lot of R&B on my mother's side. My father used to sing in the choir out in Venice. My family's originally from Los Angeles, so out in New Bethel Baptist Church, we used to sing in the choir and stuff like that. So people in my family, my father had a nice singing voice. My mother had a nice singing voice. My grandmother, my father's the youngest of 10 kids, so all of his brothers and sisters sang in the choir. So, and then when I was younger, I sang in the choir. So by then I was really just like I always had an ear for music and an ear for sound because I was around people who sang.
Yeah.
And like other like, but I was into like visual arts. When I first got into music, like I was listening to like Mace and Cameron and like Harlem World and like Big L and stuff like that. I was a big Diplomats fan. Jay-Z, Kanye West.
So you was more on the lyrical side.
Right,
The content, the context.
Oh yeah, I'm a writer. You know, I love to write. I love to freestyle too. Like my ability to write is really just based on like, for me anyway, just like my intelligence, like how often I will read or pick up information and my ability to just process new information. So I was freestyling really well before I could write. Like I sucked at writing, but I wanted to get good at it. So I had to step away from just freestyling. Like a lot of my songs back in the day, and still now, there are songs I recorded on this project like that I just plugged up and just whatever I came out is what I did, and I just refined it. But that's just my process. Sometimes I freestyle, sometimes I write, but I love people who have a vast vocabulary. So, you know, in my mind at that time, those are like supreme MCs. Like them niggas was rapping on a whole nother level. And you know, I was always just a big head, a fan of hip hop. Like, you know, knowing where it comes from and the mecca of like the New York artists and stuff like that, and being a big fan of Jay-Z and Cameron, and like that's where I got it from.
All right, how frustrating is it for you as an artist who takes the context and like the content in the writing so serious, and you see just the bullshit that be getting played and like popularized, and be like, bro, this ain't, what are y'all really saying? What, like y'all saying the same shit?
Yeah.
In a way, like I feel like today's time in hip hop right now, if you play a song right now and play the next one and the next one, it's all the same. And you're gonna be like, damn, it's different artists, but it's the same type of beat, same type of flow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel when that happens? Do you feel like I got to switch my style up and try to do more of that, or stay true to myself and
probably stay true? I mean, essentially, I tend to stay true and disassociate myself from stuff that sounds the same. You know, I remember like a long time ago, bro probably don't remember, but I text the homie Thurs, shout out the homie Thurs, he said this to me a long time ago, and I texted him and I was like, hey bro, I'm working on some new music, what you been listening to? I asked him, and he was like, bro, I don't really listen to a lot of other music when I'm in the process of making music, because you'll end up sounding like other people, because like I said, like we're all sponges and we're for inspiration. So sound wise, like when I'm working on music, I like to listen to the stuff that inspired the song and not what's going on. Like, of course I got my favorites and stuff, but when I'm working, I'll try not to listen, because I gotta be me.
Yeah.
all right.
I have two questions about that. While we
Oh,
still
do
kind
your
of
thing.
early.
Ask me whatever.
Kind of early. I was sidetracked for a second, but just going back to just the origin of you as an artist. I want to know about your name though, like Cam Gnarly. When you say that you were into R&B and hip hop or early R&B and hip hop, but Gnarly kind of gives me like a surfer vibe. You know what I'm saying? And right.
Yeah.
So can you tell me where that kind of came from?
That came from just like, well, it comes from my name. My actual name is Cam. Cameron is my first name. My last name starts with a G. So when I was coming up with my rap name, at the time I was rapping before I had a name. You know what I'm saying? So I was go to events and it's like, oh Cam, oh it's Cam spin da. But I was the youngest at the time, so people would call me Kid Cam. So I really never had a name. It was just my name was my name. So when I decided to come up with the name, I was already doing so much stuff at the time that my homie was like, and again, like at that time I was going to like more punk shows and being in like mosh pit spaces and shit like that. Like I was going to
that's what sparked it from me, because you did.
You're gnarly,
I was just doing gnarly shit. So how it came about, when somebody said that shit to me, I used to perform at like I used to go to and perform at, I don't know if you guys remember Ham on Everything. You guys ever heard of Ham on Everything?
Nigga, those
oh my goodness.
That's my Adam Goes Ham and Romo Face and Stereotype. Those are all my homies. Like when I first started coming up, all of that. I met all of those experiences really started my music career, as far as like in the LA side, because I would really be at them parties and really in that community, similar to the community that I'm in the IE. It was just another side of it. So when I was in that space, I was definitely a lot more wild than I am these days. I'm more refined and shit. But at that time, I was with the shits. So
I was off the shits,
and that too, and that part too, and that part.
I know about them parties. I was just going to the party
all the time, and them motherfuckers would start at like 10 and then into like 3 3 or 4.
500 people in a packed ass warehouse. I had just drenched.
Shout out him on everything. They gave me so many dope opportunities to see the game from behind the scenes.
That's right.
Because I got to like collab on certain stuff with them, and I was booked as an artist multiple times to open up for like McConan and stuff like that, and like
that's
Union and
Debbie.
Shit. Yeah, did shows with Lil Debbie with them. A lot of stuff like Xavier Wolf.
Shout out, man. That's throwback. That's LA underground scene in like 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, like they were running shit before like the no jumper wave, and it went from Adam Goes Ham to Adam 22, and it was like but nonetheless, like I was in that space, so that's how Cam Nar came about. Like I was just doing like gnarly shit, and then I kind of ran with it because I was like, my name is CG is always, that's my initial, so Gnarly got a silent G. It's a bar in itself, so I was just like, all right, so Cam Nar. That's how it came about.
Was you painting your nails black and having eyeliner?
No, I didn't need to do that. I'm already black. I don't need to.
I'm just asking. I know some niggas that's with the mosh pit shit and went full mosh pit.
That's what I liked so much about that scene at the time, was just like so many people. It was so many different types of people from different spaces that would come to that spot, because you can meet the artists, you can meet the directors, you can meet the promoters, and or you just fucking party and kick with the girls and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Always bad female.
Always. Shout out to all the great experience that I had back then. But that's how the Nar stuff came about, and I just kind of stuck with it because I figured, being in a rap space, people aren't gonna anticipate to have that kind of name. Like they're gonna be like Gnarly, because initially, like the narrative, what you saying, like what makes me think of like surfing shit like that. But it applies again, like we on some West Coast California shit, so it works in those spaces. And then I started like other stuff that kept the name going, like
even in the IE though, knowing that especially the early demographic of the IE was white people.
Oh yeah,
you know
definitely.
what I'm saying? So not to be like that, but I'm just saying, like having my opinion about that name and then just the vibe, I kind of put two and two together on my own, but it's interesting to hear the backstory.
It just plays into just like, taking away the narrative and changing the narratives on certain stuff. Like gnarly isn't necessary. Like if you look it up, it'd be like the definition for gnarly is like, that's a gnarly wave or a gnarly slice of pizza. It means like big, it means expansive, it means it means like exaggerated. Yeah, so in my mind I was like, it's even better than being like, I could be King Cam, or I could be or Cam King, or all these different kind of names and stuff, but gnarly is it's an adjective that accentuates shit. So that's what made me be like, oh, I'm gnarly. Like everything I do is gnarly. Like it ain't regular. I'm definitely not a regular person. I do way too much to be just considered a regular person.
I hear that. Yeah. All right, can you talk about "No one is you, and that is your power"? Can you talk about that quote?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I mean that kind of plays in exactly what we talking about. Like because I know my value and the things that I can offer as an artist, as a creative, as a mind, I know that nobody is me, so no one can offer what I can offer. So that if I'm rested in that and rooted in that, I can't make no decision, or no one can do something that would impede upon what's for me. It's already for me, because nobody can be me.
Was this something that you had to learn growing up? Like you said, your father said you have to live.
Oh yeah.
Or was this something that your family, your uncles and aunties and your moms and dads inbred it in you while growing up?
It's a little bit of both. I was definitely instilled with that. I come from a big family, a whole lot of black people, so I had nothing but cousins before I had outside homies. You know what I'm saying? 10, yeah, and they all got kids. You know what I'm saying? So I come from a big, for real. I got a cousin. I got like 13, 14 cousins. You know what I'm saying? And even beyond that, there's more that were, when I was like 5, they're already 40. That's how big my family is. So for me, I was already instilled with the level of like individualism, and also like a form of like community. I know what it's like to be a part or a member of a big unit. So like I said, everybody, there's a lot of personalities. So I've seen a lot of different personalities. I've seen life go a lot of different ways, and I feel like that's something that it was instilled in me, but I still had to learn it. I still had to really walk in that and find myself as an artist, as a man, and I have ups and downs, and niggas and had all kinds of weird experiences that made me who I am today. But more than anything, I realized that the fact that I'm still here and I'm still able to do what I love, at this point, and still have people like kind of show up for the music, or here for the music, or here for what I have to say, like that always reminds me that can't nobody be me, because I've never tried to be nothing else but myself, and I'm really good at that.
When I read that, I was like, man, I'm going through that right now, realizing the power.
Oh yeah.
Or like just realizing the value you have on anything that I touch is like, I bring some value to it, and
yeah,
I got I see who the fuck I am.
And that alone, just knowing, just being aware of that simple fact is a power in itself.
It is, and it scares people.
That's what it locks.
It does. People are so. I mean, people who don't know themselves fold in front of somebody who's sure of themselves, and then that's when
Speak
the lower frequencies come out, like jealousy, envy, or people who just want to be close to you because they see the value. They don't even like you, but they like what you can do, and they want to absorb that. So you got to understand, when you stand in your power, those are certain things that come with that, but with every level comes a new devil, and you just got to find the balance within that, because that's just life. Life is just a balance. Like, I just feel like I'm at the point now, I'm still trying to find the balance in the new things that have come, but where I am in my growth may not be where somebody else is in their growth. Where I'm at in my healing is not where they at in their healing, and I don't feel bad about that. Like, I went through that shit for a reason, so I could be here and say, that's me. That's my power. That's where my power comes from.
I fucks with that.
Right.
What was your highest moment in this music shit, and what was your lowest point, and what did you have to do to get out of that lowest point?
Probably my lowest point is when I first started doing music, I was really directionless. I just enjoyed making music, but I had no, when people used to be like, what's your plan? That shit used to bug me, scare me, because I didn't have a plan. I just enjoyed making music, and I thought that could be enough. But when you're really trying to make an impact on the world, you do have to have a plan. You have to know what you want. So it took time for me to get into that space, and I had a lot of distractions in my youth, especially just being in the streets and shit like that, trying to figure it out. I had a lot of distractions and things that weren't necessarily aligning with the things that I wanted for myself. So that was probably my lowest moment, probably in the early years when there was just niggas fighting in the streets, or fucking going to shows and causing beef, or going to shows and not caring about who I'm rubbing the wrong way type shit. And I would really move in a big unit too. I was a part of a collective back in the day called the Curly Fam Collective, and that turned into Rat Habits Holiday and the stuff that I do with that platform and my own podcast and stuff like that, the people I used to be in that collective with. But that was probably my lower days when I was really depressed, trying to figure it out. But probably my high points really came around, because I remember when nobody was listening. I would put out songs and it would get 100 plays in a year or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
During that time, though, because that time of not having the listeners and knowing the vision, but you don't see it outside of your own brain, how did you get through that moment? Not giving respect to the outcome of it. It eventually came out, but just for the listener, just for your fans right now, just as a vulnerable spot, how did you get through that one part of your journey?
Consistency. Okay. Sitting next and sometimes stopping and reevaluating.
Did stopping do anything for you? Did that kind of plummet that feeling even more?
It did, but it forced me to some people. I'm the type of person, when I'm going through something, I like to shut myself away from stuff so I can really focus on figuring out within myself, is this what I really want to do, or do I want to proceed in this direction, kind of thing. So for me, I had to separate. I probably took a year off of making music, but I would go to shows, and all my friends were musicians and stuff like that, so I wasn't too far away from the field, but I wasn't focused on making music. I was just hanging out, catching freestyles here and there. I was still writing and recording and stuff, but I was not putting out any music, only because, like I said, I wanted to have a plan and an idea of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to offer to the world with my creativity. So probably around 2014, 2015, when I started talking more about my vulnerability and being vulnerable, about my healing and about self-awareness, and I really started being intentional about making my music about being self-aware and reaching my higher self. I feel like that's a consistent theme in my music, about trying to improve and talking about the things that I've gone through, things that I've lost. And when I started to do that, people started to listen and really connect to the songs that I was making. When I started talking about positivity and stuff like that, that became a namesake for my brand, the Posi Waves and stuff, to the point that it kind of created its own thing. It started to resonate with people that, that was just the nature of what I thought. The stuff that I would put in my music was ideas that I was telling myself to get through those low moments. Mm-hmm. So songs like Levitate, when I would talk about trying to find my higher self, and trying to go where I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated, and cultivating that type of energy in the music, and talking about being positive, and what that meant to me, dealing with the negative shit and not disassociating from it, but really going through it and feeling the uncomfortable shit, doing the uncomfortable things, so I could get to the space that I am now. And I'm happy to say I've definitely transitioned from that space, but I still go through that, but because healing and that kind of thing is a practice. And I put all that stuff in my music. From my last project was called 333 or 333 hertz, which is a healing frequency, and that does talk about on that project talks about the healing. And it was ironic to me to make a project about healing when the world got sick type shit. Like that's the way it looked to me. But ever since I started being intentional in my music, there's always that silver lining of like damn, this means more than I thought it did initially. So I'm just playing my role. Like God got me.
I like
where
that.
I'm supposed to be. I
like that. Who was that? Did somebody help you, but like form that plan? Did you look at somebody and be like, I want to like follow that type of plan, or did it just come to you naturally?
It's something I came to naturally. There was a time where I used to try to find like a person to not like a mimic,
like a mentor,
like a mentor or somebody that like inspires me, and I would try to follow their steps. But to a certain extent, again, you can't be anyone else. So all you can do is learn from other people's steps and learn from their mistakes. So I'm a big learner from observation. Like when I used to go to those Ham on Everything parties, when I would hang around Noah back in the day, or Noah and Lisa, I would watch what they did and see how they would create these connections and see how they would really execute their ideas. And it got to that point I had to believe in my ideas and then execute them, and it took a lot of time to do that. And I got my own process of how I do that, like be it writing and then writing it out, flushing out the idea, and then bringing it to the people that I trust in my inner circle. I'm like, hey, this is my new idea, what you think, and bouncing it off those heads. But nonetheless, like it all comes down to just like creating positive intentions, positive actions, positive outcomes. That's how it worked.
Where we're in a retrograde right now.
I do know that. I'm trying not to like give it too much because I'm just trying to go with the flow. Like there's always some weird shit happening.
Why you raise your eyebrow when he said I know about it? He was like, oh.
No.
We going through some shit over here. You mean her? She told me some shit last week about something. I was like, whoa.
No, I was like,
we all going through it. We all going through it.
Right, and just that perspective was just to hit the nail on the head. I think, like I was telling him earlier, I think with these whole full moon, like all the energy, like I know it's there.
I'm gonna do a ritual when I get to the crib.
You know what I'm saying? But it gets you. But I think it affects you as much as you let it.
Yeah, definitely.
Just what it is. Like if you're into the deeper.
I gotta go do a ritual now. Damn.
It's so simple, bro. It doesn't got to be complicated. My ritual is this: like when it's full moon or something like that, this is what I do. I write out what I want. I write out what I don't want, and I burn the paper.
Oh, you do that? Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
Simple. I also do that when I break up with people. I'm like, you know what? I write out all my feelings and I burn it into the ether, and I expect the universe to just take care of the rest.
No. Okay.
Oh my God.
What?
We talk.
Am I still in your whole fucking flow?
No. We'll talk off.
Okay.
Live. We'll talk off live.
You said am I still in your whole fucking flow?
You're like you just give me confirmation of shit that's happening.
Hey, bro, that's what I try to move in alignment at all times.
It's not bad.
Exactly, and you doing that just brought a whole lot of answers.
I have this thing that I do since I put out 333AC. I have this thing where I'll get on Instagram Live sometimes, and it's called the Healers Club. It's like a part of my merch, but it's the Healers Club. I'll get on there and start smoking a blunt, and I'll get on there and encourage people to just be vulnerable. Tell me what you've healed from. Like, what are you healing from currently? What have you healed from in the past? And what do you do that helps you in your healing? Because I feel like healing is a constant practice. Like you mentioned, like what got me out of those low moments. I'm still doing the shit that I did back then to an extent that brought me out of that, because it's all a practice. Like, we're constantly healing from personal traumas, from external traumas and shit. So you can't, there's no quick fix. There's not like, oh, I did this one thing
because you're gonna feel
and I never felt it again. That it don't not work like that.
Exactly.
That's a poor way of healing.
I stopped smoking weed this whole month. You feel me? So I stopped smoking weed this whole month, so I'm trying to get healing of a new discipline.
Okay, discipline is a great. I mean, that's a great space to go. That helps me a lot too.
Yeah, I need that. Like, after I seen the discipline I have, I can control like a lot more my thought process and my urges of some bullshit.
This time is a great time. Shout out to the people, the people who are fasting for Ramadan and stuff like that. I participated in those spaces, even though that's not part of my like spiritual religion or anything. Like, self-discipline or removing things that you really like, that you indulge in, so that you can have power over it and they don't have power over you. Like, that's powerful. Like, you could really even if it's the little thing like taking away weed, that will empower you in a whole lot of other shit that you're able to say no to now.
Exactly.
Bro, who you telling? You feel me?
Because if you think about it, it's like people think of discipline as such a negative thing, but it happened to us growing up. So you just have to instill those same like not even standards, but just structure into your life as an adult.
I think if parents said that, then say discipline, our mindset.
That's what I'm about to say. Exactly. There's such a negative connotation on being disciplined, because the way that we're disciplined is physical. Like not physical. For being physical, I'm gonna beat your ass, exactly. Or like I'm gonna take, or then when they take, having things taken from you and stuff like that without really explaining why. So it does. We do have to dismantle or unpack like how to be disciplined, or how to just have a discipline. But that's not a bad word. Like,
exactly.
It's a great word. It's a great word. You just have to like explain it to the kids. When you try to discipline your kids, you gotta tell them why you discipline. You gotta tell them the action, the reason.
Yeah, like I'm growing something in you.
Because telling me,
I'm disciplining you because of this. Go to your room.
That was never enough for me.
What the fuck?
I was a kid. I was such a smart. I was always a very intelligent kid. I was held in a high esteem mentally as a child, but nonetheless, so because of that, I would have full on arguments with my parents, because I'm like, that don't make sense.
Exactly.
That don't make sense. Wrong. And telling me because I said so is not enough.
It's not an answer.
That is not an answer.
Just because you're tired of work and shit, I need an explanation.
Completely illogical. Like because I said so.
So you're taking this away. I can't do this.
Why?
But I'm looking at because my brain too damn far ahead.
Yeah.
Now I'm reviewing all my actions and all my intentions at 10 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, wait a minute, so I can see if all this added up to me can't go outside, can't go on the computer. Yeah. I didn't do shit. But
that's why our discipline's fucked up. We think we're gonna get in trouble.
Exactly.
Like we discipline ourselves. Oh shit.
Even the nature of just like respect, like my parents, it sounds like our parents are old fashioned in that regard, but something I take from them is that they definitely demand respect, and I can understand where that comes from as a provider. But at the same time, respect also comes with giving respect, and you also have to explain yourself. Like no one is exempt from accountability. Absolutely. So your parents as well. Like certain shit, those ideas, some people don't got it in them to argue shit that don't make sense, and they just take the idea and they embed it in themselves, and it just becomes a problem for somebody else.
Now I'm talking
later
my shit
on.
back for sure. I need to know the answer why this and that.
Oh yeah,
But at that age now you out of pocket because you ain't supposed to dispute.
Oh yeah,
nothing. You know what I'm saying? Look, it goes way back. We didn't have to heal.
I'm grown now.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to heal from that kind of shit.
We are childhood trauma right there. I know some of them ass whooping still.
When I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, I don't want to talk just because. I'm like, nah, nigga, ain't no because, bro. Tell me what's going on. But
that communication, big
communication's a big thing.
All right, man. Can we talk about this? Love is real.
Love really is. That's what it's called.
Love really is.
Love really is. Love is real. That's
love is real, but love really is.
Yes, sir.
What does that mean to you?
Love really is a thought for each song finishes that sentence. So love really is boundaries. Love really is the heels. Love really is sweet.
Goodness.
Love really is an exchange. Love really is heart talks. Love really is love. So I mean, love is such a vast title. I could have wrote and have written a lot of different songs about love, but it was these key songs that stuck out to me because I didn't want to be long-winded in such a extensive title. But for me, it's telling my stories about the things I've experienced in the nature of love, be that self-love or romantic love. So it starts off with boundaries. It starts off where, I love someone, but I don't want to treat them bad, but I have to separate myself from this for my own healing. And that leads into the next on the heels and, talking about being gentle with yourself for the heels, especially when we out in the field. And then from there, what happens when you're done healing? You meet somebody sometimes and you find somebody you could be sweet with and shit like that. And then you spark an interest in that person. You're really nice. Everybody's really nice in the beginning. And then from there, you got somebody, once you get past that point, you're able to have that sexual exchange of energy with somebody, even if it's not, like Zaya said, when it's over, you don't own it type shit. But it is that. And then, once you're separated from the person that you're sweet with and stuff, you got to remember that you set these boundaries and you're going through this healing for a reason. And that's what heart talks is. You got to look at yourself in the mirror type shit and remind yourself nah, you that nigga.
Right.
Remember that, you've been through a lot of shit and you've healed through a lot of shit, and who you're becoming is better than who you were type things. And then it gets in, from there, once you are rooted in those heart talks and you're solid or, solid within yourself, you can give love. And that's why it ends with love. And that song is just like a shout out to the people who are low and who are down, who need love. I also kind of wrote that for my cousins who are doing life right now, and talking about the love that I have for them, that they're not exempt from my love even though what they did, because I don't love them for what they what I say, I don't love you for I don't love you for what you do, I love you for who you are kind of thing. And everybody basically deserves love however they see fit. So I feel like I put a lot into that song, and I put a lot into the project for it to only be 17 minutes of listening, but there's so much deep layers and context that all kind of weave into each other, and the themes are all present. So to me, love really is just like it's stages and phases that have to do less with who you're loving and a lot about how you're loving yourself sometimes.
I like that.
Right.
Love really
I love
is.
that.
Are you still in contact? Like, accept they phone calls, your cousins that's locked up for life?
Oh yeah, definitely,
Like,
man, definitely.
I
was just talking to them. I don't know how they got it on Instagram, but they on Instagram.
What they allegedly do?
Hey man, we know how that
sorry?
goes.
What they allegedly do?
Oh, we can't talk about that.
Okay.
But I just know whatever they did, I still love them.
I
know
like
that's
that.
right.
I like that.
I
You
know
feel
that's
me?
right.
So,
Unconditional love right there. You feel me?
I feel like especially within the black experience, we're such a policed and criminalized people that they try to strip you of your humanity and try to say like exactly like how they do you in the media. As soon as something happened to you, they post a picture and be like, oh well, look, he held a gun one time, so he probably deserves it. So it's like in that way, I'm very particular because especially as I educate myself and become more PC and try to use more like non-violent language, because that language that narrative is that's violent. Like to take somebody who's dead and or take somebody who's incarcerated and try to frame them as only one way completely strips them of their complexities as a human being. So it's like especially for black people, like I try to always remember that that's somebody's family. They may have wronged somebody else and they are due the accountability for what they've done, but healing also requires love from outside sources. So the entire system that we have that's in place about how we handle these things or how we handle these people is fucked up, because all you're gonna do is create more of the shit that we're trying to avoid. So you got to give love all the time, like even when it's uncomfortable.
So on Love Really Is, what's your personal favorite track?
Shit. It changes sometimes.
Okay.
Right now, my favorite track is Sweet, because I love that hook. I love hearing myself get into a space where I'm just singing all free and fun, because that's something I've really I've gotten so much more comfortable in my vocals over the last few years since like Nirvana in 2019. I've done like a lot of different expanding of my range as a singer and as a rapper. So I love Sweet because I'm just like pitching high pitched, like as soon as the song starts, I'm sweet, sweet, like it don't sound like me. So I like when people are like, hey, who's that singing on this part? I'm like, man, that's me. He's like, all right, so who's the other vocals in the back? It's like, that's also me. So I try to, because I know I can do a lot, I like to play with my voice in that. I'm the type of nigga who will sing an Isley Brothers song in that high pitch sometimes. You know your homie who like he don't really sing, but when he put his voice in that space, he be going off. I'm that nigga. So I really like that. I like the range that I show on that song. But definitely Sweet is a favorite of mine. That's probably about to be the first visual that I drop. And then I'll show y'all a sneak peek of that before we get up out of here. But
Nice.
It's fire and it's sweet. It's exactly what the song sounds like.
That's what it feels like.
It's
It
a
feels
sweet
very
song.
like honeymoon phase.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Shout out Pretty Papes.
Shout out my boy
sir.
Pretty Papes. Yeah, that's definitely a honeymoon kind of song. That's when you meet somebody and you want to talk to them, you want to listen to them, you want to hold space for them, you want to take them out to eat, even though she don't know where she want to eat. It don't matter. We can roll up and talk about their day.
I caught that dagger too, because we know that's how y'all feel.
It is. I mean, shit. It be like that. It's
Sure.
like, don't tell me.
Sure.
It doesn't matter. Okay, I bet. Because the first place I pick, it matters. Because we ain't going there.
Yeah. I'll take you to Wingstop.
Listen,
Can't go wrong with wings.
It's a very rare breed of women that know what they want every single time you ask.
I'm telling you, if a guy take you to Wingstop first date, you tripping?
That's my
What's wrong with Wingstop?
no. I love Wingstop.
I'm saying
That's
some girls be like, nigga, Wingstop.
No, I love Wingstop.
Our girl say never take me to Red Lobster. You know what I did the first date?
Take her to Red Lobster.
Took her to Hometown Buffet.
Oh,
Bitch, don't play with me.
I had a cousin that worked there. He told me that place behind me.
I'm just saying, don't play with me.
That's probably one of the places.
Except where I go, like I don't give a fuck. But
that's probably
lessons.
one of the few.
Oh yeah,
lessons, baby.
Yeah. Can you tell me? Because I was pretty excited to ask you about this. I see, especially on your cover art, you're watering a plant.
Yeah.
I'm a big plant person.
Yeah, you're a plant dad.
Yeah, I'm a plant father.
Tell me about it, because I love my plants.
Oh,
so
man.
please explain to them the bond.
The bond with plants is like, I mean, it's more oxygen in the room, and I can see them move and change based on my mood sometimes. When I'm really feeling good, they be like,
Vibrant.
flex and like very like vibrant. And then when I'm away for sometimes, if I don't have somebody to water my plants, I can come in and you'll see that these niggas is slumped. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll represent my energy. If I'm going through something sad, they'll represent that. So I don't know. I got into plants. Like, I don't know.
Which female put you on the plant?
Nah, not one. I put females on the plants.
Okay.
If I'm being honest.
I'm being honest. I had this girl. She bought fucking like 5 plants over, and she started moving. And
no,
that's dope. That's the reverse.
How many do you have?
Probably like 10 or 11.
Do you have them planted together, or are they their own?
They're in different. They're not planted together. I have like.
They got names.
No, I just call them her or she. In that I talk to them though. Like sometimes I put it on my story in the morning. Like certain like Monday mornings, I always like water my plants, or I will miss my plants and stuff like that. But I talk to them the same way I talk to myself. Like they remind me to be aware. Like to water myself, to take time for myself. That's why I have them there. It's like it's a perfect example, like having a child, but it's not having a child. It's like having a dog, but it's not having a dog because there's no mess. You just gotta keep them alive. So for me, it's like it does represent myself. Like if I forget to water my plants, what else am I forgetting? If I forget, did I drink water today? Did I stretch today? Did I get sun today? Like those are the things that I think about because those are like just vital things you need for life. So for me, they just help in my awareness. But so for the cover art, that shout out to baby girl Tita. She did the artwork for the illustration.
It's the cutest little cover art
and I have
too.
like such a story behind that too. It does tie into my grandmother, but like for the cover art, that is what my room looks like essentially. Without like the small details of my bedroom, but it is like a plant with a green little little water planter, and then my girl in the bed like behind me, like that's for the most part, and I feel like that is the relationship for talking about love really is in a romantic way and a self-love way. I water my plants as a representation of my self-love, and then my partner being there with me is just visually represents like the romantic side of things. And if you guys ever seen the little cartoons Love Is?
And it gives you like a little message.
Yep. So like my grandmother used to collect those. You never seen it? I'm gonna show you.
It's real old.
It's real old. Yeah.
My grandma.
Like how old? I'm old.
You probably seen these. Remember these?
It's a little animation.
You ever seen these little animations right here?
Yeah.
And it's called Love Is. So my grandmother used to collect these. My grandfather used to give it to my grandmother out the newspaper because everyone is like, Love is healing. And it would be like, a little illustration.
The newspaper
I love that.
Yes.
Oh my God, that just warms my heart because it's it's so old school and it's the way you bring it back. I love it.
I was over the 2020 was like such a cutoff point. So I was able to really tap into like my ancestry and stuff, talking to my aunts and like learning more about my grandmother and my great grandmother. So I wanted to do something in the name of Vernice Grant and be like, this is where the inspiration is drawn. Not even like I didn't put her name on it or anything like that, but I intentionalized the artwork in reference to something that I knew was important to her, something that she used to collect. So when my mother told me that, I showed her the illustration, she's like, your grandmother used to collect those. And she told me that after I was even just kind of playing with the idea because I liked the illustration. I thought it would be cool, a cool way to create more artwork for the music. Even the back cover has illustrations similar to the cartoons, and each illustration symbolizes what the song is about. So I inserted myself into it, and I felt like it was tight to see, like, usually those characters are white, so I thought it would be tight to insert myself and have it be like within my own black ass experience.
Right, so you got your hair on there.
Yeah.
I like that whole idea.
That's really cool. Everything means something. Like that's really what I put that up for. So I mean, shout out to Tita who did the artwork. She's an amazing artist, amazing tattoo artist. Love her to death. Nice. Shout out to my boy Skywalker Mike. He's somebody who does a lot of my artworks. Like I said, when I hit up people and be like, yo, what you think of this idea? He's one of the dudes I can hit up and he'll help me bring the idea to life. Like, because I'm really good at describing what I want, but I don't know as much of the technical stuff as I would want to. But that's why I got friends who can do those kind of things. So it's a team effort.
I fucks.
Nice.
Cam, I fuck with you, dog.
Thank you, bro. I fuck with y'all. I really do. I appreciate it. I mean, when I go to y'all page and I see, I've been making music for a long time, and I love seeing people who put on outside of their section. And I feel like as you guys' platform continues to grow, you're going to have more artists that are going to gravitate to y'all, because it's not just LA. It feels like it's all of California with y'all, and that's why I really want to tap in with y'all. And I see my homie, M16 and Maya and stuff like that, or just seeing you at events and stuff, even during COVID when I saw you at the homie Flip Majors thing.
Talked to him. I was like, he said, I've got a project. I was like, I'm waiting for him to hit me up. Then right when he hit me up, I was like, nigga, I was about to just hit you. I remember, nigga. I was a little high, but I remember.
That's dope. That's dope.
So it's dope.
I appreciate you saying that.
No, he had another listening party. Who was it? Who invited me? Steven, Also Filthy, and Pro invited me.
Oh yeah, from my Nirvana album at that time. Yeah. Shout out to the Wave. I was doing that shit at the Wave offices and stuff. I used to have a little distribution deal with them. But shout out to my all my Korean homies.
All that. Hey, so it's the second quarter of the year, 2021.
Yes, it is.
And you just dropped a project. How many more projects is you dropping this year?
Y'all might get another one, maybe 2 more out of me. I made a lot of music during 2020 and as well, and within like this year almost over, low key. But I've made a lot of new music. But I feel like the fact that I put a lot of this, I gave y'all a lot of loving energy, a lot of sweet energy, and y'all gonna get all the visuals and all the ideas is gonna come. There's gonna be live sessions coming pretty soon throughout May and June, and linking up with the artists that I've collabed with, and just reaching out and building more and building off the resources of things that I've acquired over the years. But I'm definitely gonna drop another project. It may not sound like Love Really Is because I already did that, but I got more in store for people for sure.
Nice.
Like maybe like 2 more projects.
What did you learn about yourself during the quarantine, or what did you work on in yourself? Like what was the things that you was healing from, or something that you had improved on?
I definitely improved. On a personal level, I had like a lot of really great improvements in 2020 because I was super active at the time. Like from 2019 when I dropped Nirvana, and that shit went lit, like 10,000 streams like the first day, and I saw that change, and the stuff that I was doing led to that in like 2017 2018. So it led to that, and it was already up. So I was already doing a lot of shows. Before COVID, I had got the opportunity to open up for I opened up for Cameron and fucking DJ Quick, and opened up for my heroes at that time, and able to put my homies on. And I was also with my Rad Habits holiday imprint. We were throwing our own events every, it was gonna be monthly. So we had did You're Invited at Delicious Pizza off of Adams, West Adams, and then we had did the You're Welcome, and I had like Sham and Noah and Plane when they were doing the 110 and stuff like that, and during that time, so I was on the move, so but what happened was having to stop doing shows and being active. I had to transmute my energy into a different space because I was so used to being in the streets. The big way and my bread and butter for like making money and doing shows, and I love to perform because I know for a fact people are gonna hear my music and they'll connect, but they're really gonna connect if they see me live. So having to step away from that ability to be live, I got to really just focus on myself and tighten up loose screws that I wasn't even aware of at the time. So I got to take the time to get my money up and really sit down for a little while and reevaluate stuff and be like, what do I want again, having that space again. But this time I wasn't in fear of that. I wasn't worried about, a lot of people I saw shook, not having their routine disrupted, like threw them off. I wasn't like that. Like I feel like I really acclimated to it quickly, and I just got cozy, and I got happy just being with myself and being with my plants, and finding different ways to love that time. So I fucking came up, I bought a new car, got a laptop, and I improved my equipment in that way, and I was able to record a lot of songs. So a lot of these songs were stuff that I usually I would create music from a live standpoint. So like thinking about what this song gonna sound like live. Like I feel like if you listen to 333-8Z, you hear the songs in there. There's a lot of songs that really would translate great live, like Mary Jane with Me and Plane, or Signs and stuff like. There's a lot of upbeat, high energy songs on there, but the year happened how it happened, and we didn't have no space to do those songs.
I hear that.
So I really had to be like, damn, you know what? I want to make some shit for the homies that been in the house like me. So I was able to talk about the things I was talking about on Love Really Is. But on a personal level, I feel like I had a really great 2020. I improved in a lot of different ways. I got my website off the ground. Tap into camgnarly.com, buy some merch off there, support the brand.
Yep.
I was able to reinforce and create a podcast with Rad Habits Holiday, because since we weren't able to throw events monthly, we still wanted to do do something that kept it current and kept us talking about what was going on in the community. And as well, with Rad Habits, it made me even be more radical in my politics at the time too. So I created that space where we could talk about that shit and, you know, get a lot of stuff off our chest while also promoting the people in the community and the music that we liked.
I love that.
Yes,
you
sir.
getting vaccinated? Are you vaccinated?
I'm vaccinated, yes sir.
Okay,
I'm vaccinated.
All right,
I ain't started tweaking yet, so I ain't a zombie or nothing yet. So.
All right, word.
Yeah.
I have one last segment.
You got
Go do your thing.
One last segment because this is
You gonna ask him
IE.
his Rushmore? Oh my bad.
Oh, I forgot about that, but I can do that too. But since the IE is here, okay, we got our own little business that I want to chop up with him. So you're gonna hold on for a second. But it's a few. It's just a little rundown of some questions that I came up with.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
please.
That I want to know, that the people want to know. So it's 7 things. Just real quick, I want you to tell me a quick answer. What's the worst freeway in the IE?
The 10 freeway, and I feel like that's notorious. It don't matter where you at. The 10 freeway is trash. It don't matter where you are on it. That's probably the worst freeway. The 10 freeway, sometimes the 15 freeway, depending on what time. I love the 210. That's my favorite freeway.
Let me tell you,
210 always
ain't
free.
nobody there.
210?
You take the 215, just go all the way around.
Oh yeah. I love the 210. That's my freeway. But yeah, the 215 is whack sometimes depending on the time, but it moves quick. Oh, you know it's also trash? The 91.
That was mine.
The 91. That's what I forgot about. The 91 freeway, because sometimes that shit was just 2 lanes. Back in the day, it used to be just because my mother works at Kaiser Riverside and Kaiser Reno Valley, so me and my posse just go pick her up. And I remember getting on that freeway would take forever because that shit would be 2 lanes on the way back, bumper to bumper traffic, and I hate traffic. I hate it. It used to make me sick.
I hear you.
Yeah, that's
right.
the worst freeway. 91 and the 10.
In the 10, sure. Okay. Yeah. What's the best mall in the IE?
Depends on how your pockets are, but because if you broke, the Waterman Discount Mall is probably the best one for you. But if you got some bread, you should go over to like Victoria Gardens or something like that. You could probably get you some high end stuff. But even Ontario Mills got some like new brand. Like I know they have like some Neiman Marcus and certain spots.
They got North
like high end spots over there. But probably Ontario Mills, probably anything in Ontario or Victoria Gardens. Like those are probably the best too.
Good. What's the best breakfast spot in the IE?
I like to go to George's. I get me a little cheese omelet when they got the like really fire home fries, and it's like a little coffee, and I get a couple sausages. But yeah, pause. That's about it.
Just pause shit again.
I only said that because I don't be pausing usually. I feel like that should be homophobic personally, but there are times where niggas be confused. So I just wanted to clarify.
I hear you. Last week we had a guest and we were saying shit. They was like pause. I was like, what?
Yeah, see, excessive pausing is like, who you pausing for, bro? You got something you trying to, you want to talk about something?
I never heard a female say pause before.
Never in my life.
No, since last week I did, but it's all good. I was just like, threw me off a little, but it's all good. It's all love.
But yeah, shout out to George's. That's where I go for the breakfast spot, or you might want to hit up like a Gus Junior's. Like those kind of spots are really good.
I'm gonna have to go out there. That sound good.
Yeah, okay. Sir.
All right, what's the next? The bougiest city in the IE.
Oh man, that has to be Redlands probably, or in Ontario. That's where, and also Redlands has the highest. If you Google it, a lot of white supremacists live out there. It's very bougie. I remember one time I was working for this company called Think Together.
Oh my god!
I work for the school district in San Bernardino. Like in my family, it's always been something big to work in the community in some way, shape, or form. And just as a hustle to get your money as an artist, do a job that's never going to go anywhere. So schools are never going anywhere, hospitals are never going anywhere. How my parents got their bread up, and a lot of my uncles and aunts working in hospitals. You can, just the same way it's entry level and you can work your way up, all you got to do is be in there and work your way up. Same thing applies to school district. No matter what job you get, once you're in there, you can apply for any fucking job. So that's just my tidbit to artists who, we all need money to fund our artistic endeavors. But I remember my car broke down in Redlands. I was working at a school and I got hemmed up by so many white people telling me, what am I doing here? And I was like, I work here. But they didn't even care. So this Mexican dude came, hopped past all the people, gave me a jumper quick, and he was like, bro, you so lucky I was here, because a lot of these people in this neighborhood do not fuck with us, people who look like us, colored people with color in their skin. So that was the first time I experienced like some racism in Redlands. So I feel like wherever the like bouginess and racism kind of go hand in hand because it's classism. It's really like a classism thing, but that's the spots where it's at the most. Like Ontario, because you can't do nothing in Ontario. No hip hop shows are allowed or anything like that. So probably Ontario and Redlands for sure.
Okay. What's the best part of growing up in the IE?
For me, I grew up in between IE and LA. Like I said, my parents, I was born in Los Angeles and I lived in Hawthorne up until like the age of like 5 or 6, and I did most of my schooling and stuff like that in the Inland Empire. But I went to school in Fontana and lived in San Bernardino, but my dad still worked at like St. John's and Daniel Freeman and stuff. So because my mom would work graveyards in the IE, my dad was the type to take his sons everywhere with him or drop us off at my auntie house so I really grew up like my first fight was off of Crenshaw and Harcourt, or off of Crenshaw and Adams and Harcourt, like in that area. So the best part about being from the IE is that people can't tell where you from sometimes. Like I remember coming to LA and they would say, "Why you talk white?" And I'm like, what you talking about? And then be like, you talk white. Like you know, essentially they were saying like I'm articulating everything, like I'm able to articulate myself in a way that didn't have like a lot of slang and shit like that. Right. But like I said, I had a good vocabulary. But I feel like I was in a weird position because I would go to LA and they would say I talk white, and then I go to IE and they would say I'm fucking ghetto. Yeah. And I'm like, how? Understand. So for me, but I feel like that's my power. You know what I'm saying? Like I can exist in multiple spaces because I grew up and I'm not just from one place. You live a little. Exactly. So when I meet people from the IE, and I love the IE, don't get me wrong, like I'm definitely a patriarch for that.
Did you
like,
go to school in the IE?
Yeah, yes I did. Yes I did. Right. And you know, off top, but I can definitely see the change in my perspective from other people who are just born and bred in the IE, and I feel like there gets to be like this animosity sometimes between the IE and LA. But to me, it's pretty much the same. Like it's California and it's ghetto and it's hood and the places that I grew up at, and even beyond that, like we're not too far from each other. Like the closest thing to each other, and the fact that we have like this big, like, oh, we're so different. Like the only difference between the IE is that we got more mountains and open space and shit like that. That's the best part. Probably the best part about the IE is that even in the city, spread out a little. Yeah, exactly. It's still spread out. Like
here, man, you can't even do a fucking full U-turn.
There's just too many people. Yeah, there's just too many people out here. That's the only thing.
And the houses all looking like out here. I can't stand that shit.
Yeah.
That's just me.
One thing I loved about growing up in the IE is that I used to be able to just walk out into the fields and stuff with like my homies and kind of just like think, you know what I mean? Or just like be in my thoughts and just imagine shit or just like build shit or burn shit. I would be out in the field just burning shit sometimes. Like nobody around, you know what I'm saying? And
don't tell that out loud. You know, all these goddamn wildfire sales happening.
Oh God, no, that was a nigga. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
We found
it wasn't me. I put my fires out. You know? But that was probably my favorite part. Like when I did a lot of this stuff, like songs that people were liking when I did like a GoPro and I did like Levitating Cabbage. I was staying a lot in LA at that time. I was staying downtown. My homies had a spot off of like 7th and Spring, so I would be down there a lot. Or I would take the train from San Bernardino. Oh yes, sir. You feel me? I would take the train from San Bernardino, get off of Alameda, and just kind of like just start my day in the city and see where it took me. Uber and everywhere and all of that. And I would be finessing the Uber too. I can't even have Lyft. I whooped that. They don't even let me have it. But one thing I remember, I'm just getting to a side story. Like when Uber first started in the IE, you would get 20 free rides because it was so new. It was a new app. So I would get
all you needed was like a code.
All you needed was a code in the email, right? I whooped that shit. I made so many fucking emails, bro. And I would use every free one because every free one was like free up to like 30 miles, right? $23, $25. So I would get it up until a point, stop, call another one, get to another there. And I would do that. And because Uber was so new, the people who worked it were like, they'd be like, bro, just call me because there's not a lot of Uber people. So I would literally had an Uber man on speed. I was like, hey, bro, turn your shit on because we about to go to Riverside. So
that's lit though. That's lit. Hey, I'm a Lyft driver, so I know. Hey, I fuck with that. That's
so
call me, nigga.
I just like being able to get around kind of thing. Like that's oh my God, that's the cool thing about the IE. Like It's just like LA in that respect, because you can go from Inglewood to LA to Long Beach, and that's all about 30 minutes away from each other on a clear day, on a COVID non-traffic day. But for us, that's exactly what it's like to go from San Bernardino to Ontario, or to Rancho, or to Fontana, or to Rialto. Right. It's a 15-minute drive. So I'm used to, like I said, I grew up between going from IE and LA, so I'm no stranger to an hour drive. Like that don't bother me.
I fucks with that.
All right, 2 more.
Yeah.
What is this is specifically for you because you are from San Bernardino,
yes,
and
sir.
Just somebody from the
North
IE.
Gnarly, let's go.
San Bernardino, I'm just being honest, is for me at least not one of the cities that are known to be a little more rough around the edges. Okay, so what is the most dangerous part of the IE?
Oh, like in the streets?
Yep. We can go with city and then with like the aspect.
I mean, there's probably like you don't want to get caught off like on Baseline or Highland. It depends on what time of the day.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of police either, so I'll be careful around there, like anywhere like on Gilbert or anywhere near like Medical Center on like the west side. You know, I had homies that was dying when I was like 14, like catching bodies from rival hoods from like Delman Heights or like the Gardens and stuff. So at that time, those are probably like the most dangerous spots that you can get caught in, because I mean, you know, you might get caught in some shit that you ain't supposed to be on. I had spots where I got banged on some shit. I remember I was wearing like a pirate hat. Remember when Chris Brown did that wall to wall video? Yeah. And everybody was wearing a P hat, right? Remember that? So I had copped the P hat because, you know, of course. Right. So I got it. I remember I was over there off of like Waterman and Baseline, or probably off of Baseline, and I used to go pick up my homie from over there because he lived with his mother over there. And I remember this dude was standing in the front. He was like, "What the hat stand for?" And I was like, he was like, "Pyru," and I was like, "No, it stand for Pirates." You know the baseball team? It's a baseball team, National League. And then he was like, and then I remember my homie came out. I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He said, "What'd you say, nigga? What's up?" I was like, "No, whoa, wait a minute." I was like, "Bro, we're not even here." It's like, "Bro, we're not even over there."
That's
like
crazy. I know about that. Like,
OMG. Okay.
So,
I'm sorry.
So yeah, those are the spots. I mean, there's other spots too, but yeah,
right.
Those are the ones that come to mind for me.
Right. Just like I said, San Bernardino, I think it's pretty known, especially for IE people, that.
Oh yeah, people know not to fuck around.
Yeah, it ain't terrible. Like it's not like you can't go, but it got its spots.
Yeah, and you gotta know your San Bernardino is so beautiful too. Like if you know where to go, there's so many beautiful spots, beautiful views. San Bernardino is the biggest county in the entire United States, so there's no way an entire county could be terrible. But nonetheless, there are, you know, because it's so big, there's inevitably bad spots. So you just gotta know where you at.
Exactly. All right, and this last one is just in your opinion, who do you feel has represented, and well actually because I got this point from the last interview you did, you were just saying how the bigger names that came out of the IE, how it's important to where you're from with you, like when you you progress. So who do you feel has represented and worn the IE with them in the best and most honorable way?
Oh man, I mean, off the top of my head, I can definitely say like Hit Boy, and the way that he's always consistently maintained his section throughout his music, and then just kind of going down that list, you know, from the audio pushes and the pricing and Octane. I remember being in Ontario Mills doing shows with them, and we was handing out flyers in Ontario Mills back in the day, or going to little house parties in the hood. Niggas being like, "Nigga, tell these niggas that we are all real rappers in here," like that kind of energy. And to see where we have grown from those days of just trying to get people to respect what we were doing and what we were repping, and then seeing it taken to that level, like, you know, so definitely a Hit Boy, definitely audio push, guys like Noah James who wear that shit on his chest, guys like Triz who wear that shit, like, you know, people like myself, like you know, homies like Flip Major and stuff like that, people who I really like. There's people who are in the IE who rep the IE, but you're in the IE, so that's a little bit different, because it's easy to do it when you're under the roof, but it's a lot different when you in LA and you start getting those questions like, "Nigga, what the fuck is IE? What the fuck is San Bernardino?" Like, so you got to be able to wear that shit with pride. Like, this is my section. This is where I'm from. And I feel like that's why the people I named and myself get the respect that we do, because we have no problem being from where we're from and being out here as frequently as we are. And I love, like I mentioned earlier, like I love building those bridges between the IE and LA, because there's, like I said, so much animosity that is unnecessary, and it really ain't even like that. It's just Twitter that be doing that, but it's really not like that. It's not like that.
I'm from the San Fernando Valley, so we get the same thing from LA people, right? Like, oh, y'all from the Valley, y'all know y'all ain't hard, y'all soft. Like, nigga,
so niggas get shot everywhere.
Niggas get beat up everywhere. You feel me? So,
oh god, so
I understand that. Hey, you got asked me about this Rushmore.
Oh yeah, last one.
Yeah.
So I want to know who. Maybe I can limit this a little bit more because it was a little harder for the last guest. But your hip hop Mount Rushmore. So what we can do is either limit it to a region or to just artists or producers. I don't know what you would rather rock with, but what's going to give you that straight 5?
A region.
A region. All right, so we can just do West Coast.
My West Coast Mount Rushmore. Probably, I gotta say Snoop.
Hold on, we gotta ask that again. Hold on, because my fucking phone.
Okay, yeah, get some
time
to stall and think about it.
Yeah. All right, hold on. 3.
My West Coast.
2, let her go.
Yeah.
All right, so this last question, we want to know who is on your West Coast hip hop Mount Rushmore.
My West Coast hip hop Mount Rushmore is as follows. It gotta be Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and just to give it to the younger gen, I would have to say Kendrick Lamar.
You got one more.
Oh, it's 5?
Yeah.
I don't even know how many heads on that motherfucker. Man. Damn. I would love to give it to just my favorite female MC from the West Coast, probably Il Camille. I'm just gonna say that. That's my
what?
Name. Yeah.
Hey,
Il Camille.
Only wanna know why I say that? Because Il Camille is an IE and LA GOAT. And she's on my, and I also want to just for the face of inclusion, you know what I'm saying? That you can't have a West Coast and not have a woman up there. So right. I got to give it to her. That's one of my favorites.
Because my whole, like, you know, you have that just staple label that you look up to.
Oh,
Mine is Death Row. Like, I love how they operate.
Yeah.
I just love top to bottom everything about.
Or it could have been DJ Quick too.
Oh yeah, he's definitely
I could also say DJ Quick
or E40.
But
Ooh.
I love the women that came from Death Row. Like Lady of Rage is one of my favorite MCs ever.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I like that you included a woman in that.
I couldn't think of. That's just one of my homegirls, but also she's highly respected, and I've seen her also represent for the IE and LA, and a lot of the people that I named, she's gotten their good graces as well. So honorable mention DJ Quick for sure. Honorable mention E40.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I love it.
Nah, man, appreciate it for coming. Man, we had
pleasure.
We had like over an hour conversation, so this is great content. Hope people on Straight Out the Trunk TV enjoyed it. I know people on our live was fucking with before that hour went up, and that shit just kicked us off. But
I appreciate y'all for tapping in.
Yes, sir.
Love really is. You feel me? Love is really love. Love is really a lesson.
Let me ask y'all a question. Let me just switch up the little format.
What it do?
Finish that sentence. Love is really
understanding.
Patience.
Facts.
It's patience because you gotta take time to learn yourself before you can love somebody else.
Very true.
That's what I was learning in 2019 and 2020. You gotta love yourself before you let somebody else love you, or you can love somebody else, because you ain't gonna know who the fuck you is or how you want to be loved before you love yourself.
And also be patient with yourself in that process.
Yes, sir.
Like I don't know what you're going through, but if the answer ain't clear, sometimes you don't got to make a decision. Don't make a decision until it's clear. Be patient with yourself in the process of trying to figure out what to do.
I love
so
that.
I feel like why
can I still pipe her down now at the time?
Hey man, if the dynamic works for y'all, I'm just but nonetheless, but give her the choice. Let her know that you don't know. And let her choose. But if you don't know and you're not transparent about the fact that you don't know, then you're being misleading, and you don't want to do that, because that's negative.
That is a huge point.
I think we need to go on the Rad Habits podcast.
Yeah, I want to know more about this too. I want to know what y'all talk about on there.
We talk about this kind of stuff.
Who do you have on there?
Right now, well, it's the people from my music collective and some of the heads of the folks that I've worked with over the years. My homie DC, who I used to perform at Ham on Everything Parties Together. My cousin Kevin Alexander, who used to do like a lot of visual work for me, but he's really just like, I like to keep it in the family. That's my dog. Like, he really introduced me to a lot of the first pieces of music that I ever heard, and he's really just a really cool motherfucker. And then my homie Aaron Mays, who is just like a podcast buff. Like, he listens to nothing but podcasts and comedy shows. Like, all he does is go to comedy shows and listen to podcasts.
When do you guys record?
We do it every other Saturday. We actually have a new episode dropping tomorrow tomorrow, episode 5. We've only done 5 episodes so far.
Litty.
But it's going good. We're going to start bringing on guests once we get past episode 10.
Nice.
So I would love to have, if you guys ever want to come down.
I love to talk about this stuff. You feel me? I love talking about other things than just music.
Oh yeah,
right.
And we talk about we talk about what's going on in the world. We highlight artists that we like. There's if you listen to the podcast or you go to the description on Rat Habits Instagram or on Twitter, we also have a playlist that we do, which is a playlist that we just update with the music that we're listening to. At the end of every single episode, we put our new song that we want to add to the playlist. So you know, right now, like I think my last ad was like I added Planes Chains on there, and I added Shams Air This Bitch Out and stuff like that. So we always highlight artists, but we talk about everything, whatever's going on, we talk about it.
Love that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I did want to talk about the police brutality, but that's gonna take another whole hour.
Oh God, hey, we talked about that in the episode comes out tomorrow. Just talking about the fact that, you know, the interesting idea that came from that episode, and I never thought about it. We should stop cops from pulling niggas over.
We should.
Yeah.
If I'm speeding, don't stop me. Send a ticket to my house. I'll show up to court. If I don't, then come to my house and arrest me. Cause I missed the warrant. But I feel like there's no reason with everything that's going on. I just feel like an idea that came from that episode when we were talking, and this is not my idea, but I co-sign it. My homie DC said that it's like we should stop pulling people over for petty shit. You stop Dante Wright for some fucking, you know. It wasn't for
tags. It was registration.
It was actually for the air freshener in his rear view mirror. But then after that, after they ran his tags, they ran for a warrant. But that warrant also was an ill-suited warrant. It was a Zoom call. They emailed it to the wrong person, which issued a warrant. But for him, that was deadly. But imagine if you didn't get pulled over for these petty things,
exactly,
like a failure to appear for something, like a traffic violation.
Sandra Bland would still be alive.
You know what I'm saying?
About lane switching and shit.
Exactly. Pointless. If you caught me lane switching or some shit like that, like, write that shit down, send in my information to the courthouse, and we'll meet up at the courthouse and talk it out in front of the court. But there should not be a judge and jury for my life in the moment for something as minuscule as an air freshener or a lane switch or some shit like that. And for black people especially, that I feel like that would alleviate so much more stress.
You're right.
You don't want to go to court. Nobody want to go to court, but I really don't want to get stopped.
I'd rather go to court and talk to a judge where it's more a safe environment than having a cop pull me over. He might be having a fucking bad day. His wife might be cheating on him. You feel me? And
when a nigga look just like you.
You feel me? Oh,
right.
man. You know what I'm saying,
bro.
Because there's no accountability too, because they in the field, so they get to do what they want.
Yeah,
like,
and then the story, they make up a story that works for them.
Right.
Yeah, so
they try to go. They try to make up stories for their regulations and rules that fit them.
Right, exactly. You send a ticket to court, and then the judge look at his desk. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, what's this case about? It's for an air freshener in his mirror. Like, why are we here?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a really good point. Hopefully, they can.
So yeah,
we'll
this is the idea.
Hold on. But how do you feel about the Minnesota with what's her name, Ma'Khia Bryant, where she called. You know,
she's about to get. I haven't heard the whole story, but correct me if I'm wrong. She was about to get jumped. She had a knife.
She was about to get jumped, and she had a knife in her hand, and she was defending herself. And the cop came, and he said, "Get down" or "Stop," something like that. But it's just a fucked up situation because she was looked like she was about to just start shanking a bitch, too. You feel me? Like she's about to just.
But as a grown
but as a grown she's a 14-year-old.
She's trying to defend herself, though, right?
Yeah, she was trying to defend herself. But I'm like, you can't like pull the taser.
That's a sick thing about that, because it's like, if it's a police officer's life, they're gonna do whatever they feel necessary in essence to protect their own lives. But if a 14-year-old girl does it and called the police, you know, her life is taken, and now we're having conversations about, was it justified to have a knife? But it's like, I called the police, though. You know, I had a knife to protect myself until the police got there, but then the police killed the person who called.
Right.
Yeah, so, it's just a deep situation with those. I like your idea about they should just send us the ticket. You feel me?
For the little shit, like, for the little shit, you know? It's completely
right now.
Because it can go left.
Yeah. Then do your job. But if it's some shit that can wait till they get to court, like they're not drunk driving.
If there's some violent shit going on, then stop that shit. You should be able to de-escalate those kind of situations. A 14-year-old girl with a knife, you should be able to de-escalate without her dying. But
or have one officer in the car with one gun and the other one don't have a gun, and if they pull somebody over, the officer with the gun can't get out the car.
Did you watch Watchmen on HBO?
I heard about
Nah.
that. It's Regina King, right?
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. I heard it was good.
It was really good. Well, why I say that is because in the first episode, in that show, in this town, the cops have to wear masks for one, to hide their identities because something was going on. But before they can even get their pistol out of it's locked into their car. They have to call it in to get access to their gun. That's another. I thought that was cool, interesting idea that before you get your gun, and the dude who's on the line is probably like everybody in the department hates him because he really be telling niggas no. Figure it out, bro.
Wow.
Like, use your taser or something. You're not gonna get that gun for nothing. Like,
Right.
I like that.
So I feel like we should be having more radical changes to the systems that we have in place because we know that policing is rooted in slavery and slave catching and really like
100%.
the removal and just like displacing people. So I feel like we need to, if we're going to separate ourselves from these systems, we got to create a whole new different thing that doesn't include the word policing, that doesn't include the word prisons. Like we need to disassociate from those. That shit.
We need to change the Constitution.
Facts.
We need to update that shit. All the Constitution of the United States, that shit was written by slave masters.
Facts. And words of Cameron, this shit is not scheduled for us.
At all.
None of this shit is for us.
Now, like, it's different. So these white people feel inferior of us because they become the minorities of the United States. You feel me? There's a lot more blacks, Asians.
Did y'all see that Umar clip today?
Yes.
When he was talking that spitting them bar, he be saying some wild shit sometimes out of context. I follow that page. He is, but
is the one about the interracial marriage?
You know what I mean? That's the wild shit.
Okay.
That's usually the wild shit. That it's kind of like, all right, brother, I heard you say, but nonetheless, like what the point that he made was that. Like, and it goes back to what I'm saying, that none of this shit is scheduled for us because with the Asian hate crime bill that they just passed, that is really a byproduct of COVID. So that means it's been going on within this last year, hate crimes that are associated with COVID because Trump started that whole Chinese shit and having people on their heads. They signed a bill now that if you commit these crimes against an Asian person, those are going to be considered hate crimes. We've been trying to pitch the same anti-lynching shit since Emmett Till, and we've revised it. Even Kamala Harris, he didn't mention that, but Kamala Harris did try to spearhead this, and they denied her again. And she tried to. So he didn't mention that because he's making it seem like he tried to set the narrative that the reason they picture is because they want to improve Asian relations with America because we owe them so much money and blah blah blah.
I don't
That's a theory. That's a theory.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, for everything that we've endured in front of everybody's eyes, we still don't have no legal standing to stop these things. And unless it's something super sick or brutal, they will not consider it a hate crime. And that's why white people are getting away with the shit that they do. So it does come down. We got to dismantle the shit that we've known so that we can get to a whole new place. And that means a lot of radical changes. That means taking away the shit that we know. Now, I'm not saying I know the answer, but I know that this shit ain't working.
I hear that. I have to shout out Ben Crump, that attorney lawyer.
Yeah.
Out of all the cases, he finally got a win. It sounds so fucked up. Out of all the cases, these big political worldwide cases, he was like the main front lawyer or like just the spokesperson.
Yeah.
He finally got a win with George Floyd. You feel me? Like,
yeah, that was beautiful.
That was very beautiful, very dope. It
was beautiful, but
he's like
more work to do for me.
Oh, it's not even done. That was
that's not even like what they said about like like all this, the way they're trying to frame it is like finally some accountability. That's not accountability when they were trying to convince niggas that it really was car fumes that killed him. It wasn't. I was watching it. I was watching
aliens?
Aliens.
That's what they said in the
somebody says aliens. Then they called us. They called black people superhumans.
Oh my god.
They said that the defense tried to propose that when he was when the incident took place that wasn't Derek Chauvin, that he was possessed.
What?
That's what
they tried. They possessed with what?
Aliens. They said that was an alien.
Come on,
that's what the defense said on the mic under oath. They said that was
he was
not
possessed by
Derek
an alien.
That's why
they said a UFO was up in there, and they said he came down.
Oh, did y'all hear about the spaceship that got encountered with a UFO recently?
Oh, no.
Like there was like a whole new recent last week the spaceship went in the air.
I don't not believe that aliens exist. I just feel like it's a really weird time to pull the alien card when we can't even figure out black relations and how to deal with people pleasantly. That you want to bring up aliens, like nigga, that's a whole other hot high ass
You know what I'm
conversation,
saying?
bro.
Like
keep
y'all
that
got your nerve right now trying to say this in this courtroom.
real. Like
It's a whole
how do you
damn-
acknowledge aliens before you acknowledge racism? How do you acknowledge aliens before you pay reparations?
I think that lawyer's like, yeah, you going to jail, bro.
Yeah, he was just making
gonna
up
try
all
and say
kinds
some
I
shit
loved
that-
his face when they said guilty, and I was like, his face was like, but I'm white.
He said,
Yeah.
but y'all
His
told
face,
me-
he looked surprised.
Y'all
was like,
told me y'all
whoa.
wasn't going to go to jail.
No,
Yeah.
bro. You
Man,
haven't
I
gone to jail. It's been a year. I hope you enjoyed
The
it.
fact that,
Right.
and it fucked me up because just waiting for the verdict, like the fact that it wasn't a clear as day verdict.
No, you woke up with.
It was, I had a little panic attack before
yeah.
when we was waiting like for the verdict.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, whew. I was like, I hope this
I
ain't
stood
no.
up. I was walking around the house like, what's
Me
going
too.
on?
I was doing
What's
dishes.
about to
I was,
happen?
oh my god,
I'm
I
like,
couldn't come down.
We're about to turn it upside down right now. What's about to happen?
Yeah, I had that feeling too because if it didn't go that way, we knew what it was going to
You
look
know
like.
what I'm saying?
But I also had a very low expectations because we've been here before.
Exactly.
So it's like I'm now, I want to give grace where grace. Like I'm glad that justice was served in that regard, and bro went to jail for what he did. But it's just like that is a tiny morsel of a victory for a lot of the cases that have gone unsolved or uncared about. And, especially over the few years, it's been at least like 5 or 6
Or
in the last few
cases
years
that's
that
not even heard of yet because the camera, the footage ain't been
Yeah,
released.
he's the
yeah.
one that got caught.
There's so many footages that's not being released to the
Did
public.
the men that killed Tamir Rice did they get arrested and go to jail?
No.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a small victory, because the pressure was applied, but there's so many other things that they're doing to co-opt the message and the narrative that we got to keep the pressure on, and we can't let these motherfuckers think that they threw us a bone or anything. Like, nah, this is the new normal now. Like, everybody who does that shit, because it's just a job. It's an occupation that you can quit at any time. It's time you got to be held accountable for that shit.
Yeah, I'm like,
I can't kill a nigga on the job and say I was possessed by aliens or some other shit, like, or get on some leave or something like that. No,
I'm glad we talked about this too.
Right.
I can go on for this.
I really could, yeah.
But I mean,
But, hey, invite us to the Rad Habits podcast. We on that.
Yeah,
bitch.
I will.
We'll
Yeah,
be
I
there.
will.
I love to
Be
talk
there.
about anything other than just music. Yeah, I love talking about music, but we can talk about other shit. Oh man.
Yeah, we talk about the shows we watch.
all
Right now, every episode lately, we always talk about Snowfall because that's all of us. We all love that show. I'm gonna say this. I haven't said this. I'm probably gonna say this on the next episode of the podcast because I watched the season finale, but I thought it was a little underwhelming for a season finale. I expected more out of Scully. I
wish he would have shot somebody in the hospital.
I wish he would have been the one to kill Fatback. At least he would have had some action on him because he didn't do nothing.
I hear you.
Do y'all want to know the truth
I hear
about
you.
my experience with Snowfall? I am nowhere near caught up.
Okay.
Because I'm still in the first season.
Okay.
Because
This season's a lot like first season, actually.
There's a scene in that first season that completely just was. I was like, fuck this show.
We got 5 minutes left. What's up?
Oh, just basically when I forgot his name, but basically when you couldn't see what happened, but you heard what happened.
Oh yeah, I knew it was that part.
It's like
I knew it
episode
was that
3 or
part.
4. I was like, oh hell
When
no.
Franklin got his shit took, and then he went with Leon to get that nigga from the hood, and that nigga from the hood,
He was tied up.
yeah,
You gotta do what you gotta do.
no. I don't think we know. I don't think we're talking about
Yeah, I don't
the
think
same
we
episode.
I don't think
We're talking about when homie took bro booty
yeah.
in the room. Remember?
But he was like, yeah.
He was like, "Where the money?" He kept
I know what you're
yeah.
talking about now.
I haven't watched.
I wasn't.
I ain't
I was
watching
talking about a
since.
different one.
But
I
everyone
was talking about
said-
when he was in jail, when Franklin was in jail.
No.
This was at the house.
This is before that.
Oh, okay,
But,
okay.
since
He
then-
said, show who the fuck you is, nigga.
Yeah, I love that scene.
My
That was a
bad,
great
okay.
scene.
But yeah, I'll catch up because everyone said that was it.
Wait, that's I know what you're talking about. That's a tough watch too.
Damn,
Yeah, that was
shit,
tough.
bitch. Sometimes you try to like just like I see
Yeah,
it,
but
but in my
he
head.
probably suppressed that shit completely. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you're talking about
Yeah.
that. When yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But I mean, on a lighter note, though, we are very glad that you came.
Snowfall or Power.
Power.
Okay, cool. Yes, that's
I'm gonna say Power.
all right.
The first 5 seasons were lit. I can't tell you, bro.
I was like the first couple when I get to see Lala's titties for the first time. I was
Oh my
like,
God.
Jesus, thank you, because she never had a nip slip, no nudity, no sex tape. Next one I'm waiting for, Beyonce. You feel me?
Oh, you ain't getting that.
I'm waiting. It's
Don't say that.
happening.
Jay-Z gonna shut your own shit.
Jay-Z, shut up, nigga. I go call Becky, nigga. Get the fuck out of here.
wow.
Yeah, dig. Now, I appreciate you for pulling up, though,
Yeah,
Cam.
Thank
You
y'all,
feel me?
man. Appreciate
And make
y'all.
sure you go stream Love really is.
There we go.
Boundaries. Love really heals. Love really is sweet. Love really is exchange. Love really is heart talks. Yep. Love is really love.
That's fair. Shout out to everybody on that, man. Really shout out Pretty Babe, Sneaky D's, Ray, Zybel. Appreciate everybody on there.
Now we're gonna end it off with exchange. You feel me? Because I think that was one of your favorite tracks.
Oh yeah. Mine is the one with Nikki D's. Okay. But I like the whole project. But just anyway. Exchange is cool.
And make sure you go follow Cam Nar. Where they follow you at?
You can follow me on Instagram at Camnar, CAMGNAR. On Twitter, Cam Gnarly, CAMGNARLY. Tap in with my website too. You want to support the brand. You just want to support what I'm doing out here. Go to CamNarly.com. Buy a t-shirt, buy a mask, buy a bag. Join the Healers Club because we all healing from something.
Healers Club is the brand.
That's the name of the merch that I have available. And I got some like Posy Waves t-shirts and stuff like that. I will have some Love Really Is merch coming out, but they'll only be available at the Love Really Is live sessions. But more info on that soon.
Oh yes, sir. Make sure you follow up. Make sure you go stream the project. All streaming platforms. Stay at the Trunk Radio. Cam Gnarly in the house.
Yes, sir.
Shift dark days to a yellow hue. Fuck your ex, man. I'm trying to fuck with you. Yeah. Hey. Fuck your ex, nigga. Who is me? They call me brother to the moon. Like relaxing minds and setting moods right. Sending the rhythms up your left eye. Trying to be the blues along your right side. Hope it's